Hi there, everybody in YouTube land. We are WordPress St. Petersburg, WordPress Tampa Bay. I am Jim True, the lead organizer for WordPress St. Petersburg. And below me, we have our fellow organizers, Travis Lopes, Elaine Simmons, and Jennifer Novak. You are here tonight for our Ask Us Anything crowdsourcing WordPress support workshop. How exciting that is. WordPress St. Petersburg meets monthly on the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. We're going online for AMAs or Ask Us Anythings and in person for quarterly socials. Our meetup is at meetup.com/WordPress-St-Petersburg, or you can go to our website at WPTampaBay.org and find links to our Slack chat, our meetups, our Facebook group, and our YouTube channels. We are a member of the WordPress Tampa Bay network. WordPress Tampa Bay is we'll be updating the meetup group because we have gotten permission to merge all of our little satellite WordPress groups into WordPress Tampa Bay. So we will be updating the meetup group at some time this year to the new primary name of WordPress Tampa Bay and /WP Tampa Bay. All groups across Tampa Bay will be using the same calendar. And right now that's Tampa, St. Pete, Brandon, Valrico, and Newport Richey. Any other groups that would like to use our calendar, just let us know. Upcoming meetups and events. Our first event here is actually an external event. CIVO has asked us to advertise and promote their event on February 7th and 8th. It's called the CIVO Navigate. It is a in-person tech event packed with talks and workshops focused on navigating and succeeding within the cloud-native landscape. There will be an overriding theme of innovation with a focus on helping companies better leverage cloud-native technologies. Education will be at the forefront of all talks and workshops aimed at various skill levels. Some of the brightest minds in cloud-native will be joining them at the event, including an opening keynote talk from tech innovator and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. The event will be February 7th and 8th. I think that's a Friday and a Saturday, or is it a Saturday and Sunday? I haven't looked. I think
that is a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Oh, so way off. Sorry. So February 7th and 8th in Tampa Bay at the Armature Works, which is on Ola Avenue. Armature Works is a striking mixed-use event space in Tampa offering upscale food court, bar, and lounge and lofty historic digs. They have given us a 50% off tickets for community members to this conference. Just use the code WordNavigate50 when you register for the event. We also have 4 free tickets that we're giving out on a first come, first serve basis. I put the notice out on Facebook, but I haven't seen anybody reply yet. So anyone that's watching tonight that wants a ticket, just reply in the comment box and I will give you one. So I'm not going, but Daniel Schutesmith from WordPress Newport Richey will be going. So he'll be there. All right. Our next event is February 21st. We'll be doing another Ask Us Anything like this. Should be fun. And in March 21st, we're either going to do an Ask Us Anything or an in-person social meetup. I think we've decided that it's just going to be an in-person social meetup. If it's okay with you other 3 folks here, I know I've already asked Travis, Elaine, and Jennifer, how do you guys feel about Armature Works?
Yeah, that's fine.
For me,
it's fine.
Okay, cool. I'll put out that notice that we're going to do it at Armature Works, but we'll just pick the day is the only thing. We're going to leave it a little open and let people vote on a day. But I can definitely get down there at night, after work or something like that pretty easily. So that's not a problem. It's in the area of Tampa that's pretty easy to get to from my side too. So, all right. We are looking for speakers. If you are knowledgeable about the WordPress arena, web design, front end or back end, plugin reviews, theme reviews, anything pertinent to web design, do you talk small business, entrepreneurship, that sort of a thing? Do you have, highlights for, how to incorporate technology into your small business? We're also open to those kind of discussions. If you've never spoken in public before, no problem. Since we're doing most of this stuff online anyway, you only have to deal with us. It's also great for your resume, your LinkedIn, or your Twitter. And if you're interested, go to our website at wptampabay.org/speakers/call. Code of conduct tonight. There are no stupid questions except the one you didn't ask. We will be taking questions from our Meetup RSVPs and from the chat, either on Facebook Live or on YouTube. And we're going to be limiting our discussion of those questions to 10 to 15 minutes. Any more than that, and you really should be hiring a consultant, but we can always tell you that anyway if that makes more sense. If you do dial in tonight, everyone gets to speak, but try to be cognizant of the fact that since we're online, it's very easy to talk over each other, and you just want to be careful of that. Our dial-in etiquette, we're using StreamYard for our streaming service here, and the invite link is posted on both Facebook and YouTube chat. It provides you guest instructions when you join in through that process, and it helps you configure your microphone and your speakers so that you can join into the call and work properly from the beginning. Please make sure you've got your connection configured properly and tested your mic and speakers before you join the call or before we bring you in. And if you're also watching the stream through Facebook or YouTube, mute the audio in those windows. We may be looking at the more elevated version of StreamYard that provides a green room functionality where we can kind of check your audio ahead of time and bring you into like a separate space before we pull you into the call. So, but I'm going to be looking at those prices and things. This is the year, basically the beginning of the year is when we pay for our hosting for WordPressTampaBay.org, and we pay for our domain name registrations. And I'm going to be looking at rolling the StreamYard into our annual budget, since we currently have, I think, like $330 on Open Collective, and that leaves us a little bit
in the black. Yeah,
we're in the black, but we haven't paid for hosting yet, so that should be coming up in March. I'll be putting those things together pretty quickly. Right now, I think I'm the only one donating on a regular basis, and then we were getting donations from a couple of technology groups that were having us pass out, links through our Meetup to sending out notices to our Meetup. So we may try to start promoting people donating. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, let's get started. Questions? Ask us anything. So let me shift over to our questions for this evening. Excuse me, my Slack is, where did my Slack go? All right, let's see. Remove that for right now. There's our faces. There's all our pretty faces. All right, we have a question from Kurt Long. This is a note too, but guys, when you RSVP to our Meetup, please try to ask detailed questions. Just dropping a word isn't going to help a lot. We have let's see if this goes in. Yeah, it did. Okay. All right. Kurt Long asked, WP CLI, and that's all he said. So we don't know. Do you have a question about WP CLI specifically? So at this point, I'm going to actually kind of turn it over to Travis, who is our technical expert on things like that. And
yeah, WP CLI, if you have never heard of it or used it before, it's basically a command line tool for interacting with your WordPress site. I'm going to go ahead and real quick, let me make this a larger. To be able to access it, you will need to be, if it's a local site, like local by Flywheel, it's very easy. If you just go into your local sites list and you right click on it and you click open site shell. Otherwise, if it's a remote site, you will need to go ahead and connect via SSH.
Can you zoom that in a little bit or make that text a little larger? Yeah.
About like this. Is this better? It's good.
A little better, maybe a little bigger than that.
So how about that?
There you go.
That's better.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a command line tool where you can easily interact with your WordPress site. So if I just type in WP, that's not good. It's fun stuff with local sites and not loading the proper extensions that should be loading. If you type in WP, you'll get like the usual command line help document of what you can do with that command. So you can do a lot just built in with WP CLI. You can access stuff around comments, like most post types that are built in. exporting and importing documents, turning your website into maintenance mode, working with different post types, themes, etc. And plenty of other plugins can also extend off of that. But I can do stuff in here, like I can go WP plugin, like to access my plugin, and like you'll see there, if I wish I could hide this.
That's okay.
That makes it a little better. You can see all like the different sub commands if you don't provide like the sub command. So if I just do like WP plugin list, it'll list off all the plugins I have on that site. If they're active, if they're not, I could easily, like if I want to disable, like for instance, there is the Google Drive extension for entry automation, and I want to deactivate that. So if I just type in WP plugin deactivate and type in that plugin slug, it will go ahead and deactivate that plugin.
So basically, if you had like a white screen of death on your live site and you had secure shell access to it, you could reasonably deactivate plugins using
possibly, but probably not, because this is running through PHP.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I I'll for instance, if I do WP plugin install, I think it's Gravity Forms CLI is the right slug. Yeah. So you can do WP plugin install and then type in the slug, and it will pull it down from the .org repo and go ahead and install it. And then if I type in WP plugin activate, wait, let me see. Can I turn off? I cannot turn off Xdebug, so I can hide that error. Very unfortunate. Plugin activate, Gravity Forms CLI. I do that, and then if I do WP again, you can see here there's a new GF command for that plugin I just added, the Gravity Forms plugin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So WP CLI is also great, like if you're doing like long-term tasks. Like for instance, we just updated our site to use EDD 3.0, and they have a migrator that for us took an hour long to migrate all our orders and all that stuff. And you can do that through the website and through the browser, but sometimes that can be a little unreliable. So I was able to just like sign into our site and use WP CLI to run that migration tool. And it ran easily in the background with no problems.
Very cool.
So yeah, from there, it's more of a question of like, what do you want to know about? That's like a high level look at WP CLI. Yeah.
Very cool. And that's that was the, let me zoom that in a little bit so you guys can see that. There's a handbook on WordPress's site. And that was the one that you suggested we recommend to people. And let me get that URL and I'll add that in the little chat real quick.
And you can sometimes like chain commands together. Like if you're like searching through like WordPress posts, but like you need to list some posts out, but need to search for specific post IDs. So you could do like the search command that returns those post IDs. Kind of put that's what I'm looking for. Parentheses, right? Yeah, maybe.
Brackets, whatever.
Yeah, listen, yeah, you can put brackets around it to kind of like use that value to then like in another CLI command, like in one go and stuff. It's very powerful.
Yeah. But what's the downside? How badly can you mess everything up if you don't know what you're doing?
Not that badly. Because most stuff, like everything that's like surface is just through basic WordPress commands. Like you're not gonna.
Yeah.
If you can break your site through WP CLI, you'd be able to break it just by using the WordPress dashboard. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Travis. I appreciate that.
That was
really
good.
helpful. Yeah.
As always, try that stuff out on a local site.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
If you never used it before.
Yeah. Most of the good plugins, though, like I know, like WP Migrate, WP DB Migrate Pro has a CLI.
WP
Migrate, yes, and I know they have a CLI. I know Pods has a CLI.
Gravity Forms has a CLI.
Yeah, so
if you want to mess with the database, you have to go in and sort of get that set up first, right?
How do you mean?
Putting in passwords for your database for that site.
This would be like after you installed WordPress.
Yeah, your database stuff would be inside your wp-config.php. Yeah. So it would use the wp-config.php to access the database.
But you could kind of do like database stuff with this. Like for instance, at one point with our fillable PDFs product, we store all the templates on our API server. And at one point we were migrating how we store the metadata for those PDFs. So I wrote because I know like to do a migration like that, if I was to like hook up like hack together like, hey, add an action that runs on WordPress in it. And then like, hey, if it includes this query parameter and I'm signed in, like run this task. That DB migration is going to run way longer than like a normal request. It would probably time out at a certain point. So I just hooked that up into a WordPress CLI command. And I can do like my whole long database migration that needs to happen without having to worry about timeouts, because there's no timeouts like when you're running PHP on the command line.
Oh,
And usually like a lot
nice.
of tools like that. And it's very easy to build out WordPress WP CLI commands. There's like a lot of helper methods. Like I was very easily for a tool, like I'm doing this for myself. I don't need something super fancy, but I was very quickly able to add in like a nice little progress bar, like, and it automatically like detected the time of like how long this migration is going to run and like showing me the progress bar. It was great.
wow.
Yeah.
That is quite
That's
useful.
good. Yeah.
So toolkit, very useful toolkit. Cool. All right. Thanks, Travis.
Not to be confused with Toolkit, which I think is like a WordPress plugin that does like forms and blocks and stuff.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing. Yeah, that's so our next question was from Martha Kim. She asks, how to create a usable template? Do I need colors, a logo, etc., to have an effective website? Yeah. This question really comes down to branding. And when I used to do a lot of business consulting and coaching, especially for new companies that were getting started, branding was something that was a lot of people don't have a lot of knowledge of, but they realize it now when they start thinking about it, because you can't really sell a product, you can't really sell yourself without a brand. And branding is logo, colors, your voice, what you're selling, what you're doing, and who your audience is and stuff like that. And we've got two very my fingers are trying to drag over to the right side of the screens. We have two very smart people about branding down below, Elaine and Jennifer, who I'm sure have lots of ideas for this one. And then we can roll back to me and I'll talk about how it's fairly easy, even on most simple themes, to integrate your brand colors and your logo right out of the box with a WordPress installation. So, Jen, Elaine, you guys have any ideas on discussions on branding and templates and stuff?
I mean, I think you just start out with like, who is your target audience? What is your product, or what are you trying to accomplish? And kind of work backwards from there. Try to figure out what is going to appeal to that target demographic. I mean, whether or not you need a logo would depend on what the product is, what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, just a number of things. I mean, would be helpful to have. Is it absolutely necessary? Maybe, maybe not. But it also, if you do want one, or you do determine that you need one, make sure that you've got, that you're hiring someone that can get you something that is original and memorable and just a quality logo. As far as colors go, again, it's going to depend on your target audience. What would appeal to that target audience? What would make sense? And then from there, just making sure that, within your website, you're consistent with those, and making sure that that your eyes are being drawn to the right spots. If it's a product that you're selling, you want it, the attention drawn to the buy buttons, or basically you want the colors to draw you, and the colors in the design of your site to draw the user into whatever action you want them to take. So that call to action is very important, and keeping that in mind when you're designing your website. I think that's probably about as specific as I can get without some more information. Yeah. Maybe.
I take Martha Kim's question, how to create a usable template. Maybe she means, what if I bought a theme and now I'm going to hack it or, edit it for my purposes.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do that, then you would say, well, if it's a portfolio site, you would want a theme that is originally a portfolio theme, or if it's a photography website, you want like a theme for a photographer, or those specific themes, and then
Do
you
you
can
still
import
focus on that as far as like specific, trying to buy themes that are specific to specific
I'm just
business
saying for this
practices?
person, maybe it would be helpful to start there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't anymore. I've
No,
really gotten very far away from ever looking at. I mean, because nowadays, I guess because the way the block editor is, it's not that hard to get, like to set up a gallery or a portfolio style theme, and especially with I can't think of the ones now. Gutenberg Time recommends quite a few of. They're actually free themes, but they're designed by good modern designers, and they kind of hit those notes pretty well. So, like, you have the basis between, okay, this is a gallery style site. This is more of an e-commerce style site. This is more of a what do you call it? A news style site, and or it may just
or a
be like a
blog,
business
or just a
or a
blog.
blog, yeah, or a blog, or like a business style site, and focus more towards that, and then do add your colors or your focus on the name too, because names matter more than anything else in a lot of things, especially since we are still visual, but the name does have to get across there.
And I say this from recent experience. Do not try to look for the perfect name. The perfect name does not exist. The best name is not going to do. There's not going to be one day where a name just jumps out to you and you go, oh my God, that's the best name I've ever heard. Well, you're looking for in a name. And I say this after like working on a rename of my company for literally a year. You want a name that when you sit with it for 4 months, you go, yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
That works.
If you have a choice, take time.
Yeah.
Take the time, and definitely research the domain names.
Yes.
Because that will make a lot of difference on what you end up actually naming your business, especially if it's going to be online. So
search for Twitter handles, Facebook handles, Instagram handles.
Yeah.
Search for that term. Like when we were searching, like there were good terms. Like, oh, I like this could work as a company name. And then I do a Google search and it's like, oh, Adidas named a shoe this color. So good luck ranking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like WordPress goes, it's really your basic themes, almost all of them anyway. Let me pull up one real quick. Give me a second and I will just
But even if you're like making your own theme and you're working for a designer, like this is something I always, when I build a new site, even when we're doing like new iterations with my designer, I always make sure I tell them like the one thing I want is just like go into one page of the sketch document, please, sir, and just make like a document that's like, here's what a first level heading looks like, second level, third level, here's a paragraph with some links in it, an order list, a block quote, just like give me all those basic elements that we can base the whole site around.
Isn't that something that I'm trying to think, isn't that like the default? There's a default thing that you can load into WordPress that will give you kind of like an example of all kinds of posts, et cetera, with all the different kind of heading styles, et cetera, so that you have that for testing your design against. There used to be
not just that Greek text stuff.
Yeah,
right?
not just the Greek
No,
text
it's like
stuff,
all the HTML elements, and I wish I knew.
Yeah, there is something that will do that because I've used that before, and I cannot remember what it's called. But yeah, even from a viewpoint of just a standard theme editor. Let me see what theme I've actually got installed on this one. I think this is the active 2023 or 2023. So if I go into this one and I hit customize, right off the bat, you've got your title, tagline, and in most cases, you've actually got logo here and a site icon.
Which the site icon is less like the logo that's going to appear on your site, and more so the favicon that'll appear up in the tab bar
boxes. Yeah, exactly. But it's useful because it helps you. If you can get it tied to your theme, that's a good thing. So this theme doesn't have a logo block. How interesting.
Well, that's because it supports site editing.
Yeah, go figure. Yeah,
let's find out.
Figure. Let me switch to a different one. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to click the site editor. I'm not. I don't want to. I hate the site editor. I'm going to change the theme. We changed to one that is
I've
less.
not used it, and I'm very curious as to how it goes.
Doesn't support customizer. Let's try this one. Live preview. Okay. I think this one has it. Site icon, site title. Yes, has a logo box. So if you put an image in there, that will show up as a logo for your website. So in most cases, WordPress themes, by default, unless they're using the full screen editor, or the site editor, will have a logo box, a title, and a tagline. And as far as colors go, most themes have very limited color support, but you can, what was I going to look for? Adding global colors to WordPress. I want to say there's a plugin for this. If there's not, change colors in the site editor. It's WordPress.com. Sorry. I use GeneratePress, and it supports global style colors. That's why I primarily use it, because you can. It has a thing called global styles, where you can basically design your settings for. Let's say you want to do a hero box, a big old hero thing at the top of your page, and you want those texts to be a very specific style and a specific color and specific padding. You can actually create that block and then mark it as a global style, and it will save it, and you can use it throughout the theme. So that's one of the main reasons I use GeneratePress, because it does support global colors and stuff like that. So that is one of the things, is that look for a theme that gives you the ability to set a color palette, and then you can do that sort of thing.
Well, let's look at fonts as long as you're in there.
Oh, that's a good idea. Sorry, go back in there again. Does this one support that? Nope. This is a WordPress theme. That's why. So let me find another. Let me find something else that isn't a one of those. Let me see if I can find that one that Bridget uses on Gutenberg Times.
I will always recommend, like, if you built your own theme and like you're gonna do a redesign of your site, don't edit the existing theme. Start from scratch.
Yeah.
So much technical debt. So much to rewrite.
Yeah. Let's see, themes. And I'm looking for, okay, there we go. I'm going to share this screen and share this tab. Are you guys seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Anders Noren. He does a lot of free themes for WordPress. And they're on most of these are all block-based themes, and obviously different theming styles and stuff, like e-commerce, kind of like a portfolio site, another portfolio site, kind of like a blog site, could be. Let's find one of these. Let's go with Miyazaki, or let's do this one. I think it's called Davis Blocks. Tiny block theme built for blogs. Let's see if I can find that on our Ask Us Anything, and I will bring it back up again. Okay. Search themes, install themes, WordPress.org themes, blocks, Davis. All right. I'll share this tab instead. Okay. So there we go. Change. Davis blocks. I just had it. Customize. Huh. Well, I thought it would have more stuff in there. I guess it doesn't. I would support site editing. That's why. Okay, fine. You forced me to do it. Ah!
Horror.
Oh, yeah, the horror is right. My God. How the hell do you use these things? I have not used the full screen. Have any of you guys used the full screen editor yet?
No.
I don't
Yeah.
even have Gutenberg enabled on my site.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's a styles thing, and you've got a little box here for typography. So you can set your text, links, headings, and buttons typography, and you can do your colors, and you can set your palette. Like the theme comes with those 5, but you can pick and choose out of that or add additional colors to it. So, I mean, it is powerful when you come down to it. Like, it's like, I don't want that like lime green there. So let's change that one. I don't want that to be my primary color. I want to make it something else. So I will pick a purple instead. And done. And now it becomes my primary color. And see, my button suddenly changed to purple. But of course, then that messes up the hover color. So let's go back into, that's actually not too hard to do. Sorry, go back in there again. Typography, buttons. There we go. So we have buttons default, size custom, note font. Manage the fonts and typography used on buttons. Default font. Where's the color? That's not helpful.
And I say this having not used it. I'm curious if, like, when you change a color like that, like if it's just provided as like a CSS variable. If there's something,
global CS. That's pretty much how the global styles work in and Gutenberg. Yeah, they do it as CSS, and they actually add classes too. I know that Generate Press and Generate Blocks creates actual class names and stuff.
Do they cache that to a file?
I have no idea how that works, but you can. I know with Generate Press and Generate Blocks, you can, in the settings, you can actually set that to cache that as a minified file or something. It's just
because the idea of having to load that from the database every time doesn't seem super great.
No. So, yeah, I don't. Okay. Oh, there it is. Colors, buttons. Haha. Okay, there we go. So my text color, background color, theme, default. There we go. Ta-da. Nice. That wasn't so bad, was it?
Okay.
That wasn't so bad. Right? So, yeah. So the full screen editor does give a lot of power as far as that kind of stuff goes. But again, you know, obviously you've got to have a theme that supports that. So, yowza.
It's not for the squeamish.
Definitely not for the squeamish at all. Like, okay, God, I'm squeamish. I'm getting out of here. Maybe this is something we should talk about one of these days, huh? Right. So we should put full screen editor on our list for one of these things. I think, actually, let me check something real quick. Learn.wordpress.org. Full screen editor. Full screen editor. I'll share the screen. Oh, I stopped sharing. That was stupid. I do that sometimes, or I turn my sharing off. Oh, let's see. Where is it? Learn. There it is. Okay. So they have intro to the site editor and templates, full site editing, 60 minutes. How to add and remove logo and site icon in site editor. Advanced site
Where are
design
you that you're seeing this? Where is this?
This is Learn WordPress.
Learn WordPress. Okay.
Yeah. So you can either take these classes, to go through the tutorials directly here, which is quite useful for learning, or we can actually take the lesson plans and kind of do a talk based on one of those. So we might try that. We've never done it, but they do have entire lesson plans. So that's kind of the whole point, so that you can languages. Of course, I pop in there, and the first thing I see are languages I don't speak. So let me say, let's see.
Is there no language filter?
There should be. That's what I'm looking for.
There isn't. That's strange.
Yeah, that's really strange. That's bizarre. That's all I can say. Because you would think there would be a language filter, but there's not. That is really weird. Okay. But I can go back and let's see. Full site editor. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, see there again. Lessons plan, loading blocks in the full site editor, create a basic child theme for block themes, submitting block patterns, template editor. There we go. So like this is a lessons plan intermediate demonstration show and tell for 60 minutes that walks you through how to do enter to the site editor and templates. And of course, it expects you to know how to use block themes in the page editor first. So, but it provides like notes and slide details and everything else.
Are you on the British English site?
No, I'm just on learnwordpress.org.
Interesting.
Yeah. So go figure. But this is something the community launched, the WordPress community, group.
You saw the S, huh?
Yeah, that's why I asked.
What S?
Practice was spelled PRACTICE.
Okay, I got you.
That's why I asked. Yeah,
that was odd. Yeah, but yeah, that's just something they've been promoting for people to that are having hard, especially for like new meetup groups that are having a hard time coming up with topic discussions and stuff. They promote people going to the learnwordpress.org to find lesson plans for things like the block editor and Gutenberg and stuff like that. So it's a good way to bring value to your meetup group. And if you are doing a local meetup and want to, do a talk on something, that's a good place to start. If you, know something, but maybe not enough, and can use that to add more value to what you might be talking about. So
this conversation definitely has me thinking like maybe this year is finally the time to like rip off the Band-Aid and embrace the block editor.
Yeah. I don't know what I was looking at the other day. Oh, I know what it was. We had a support question came into Gravity Forms, and it was somebody that was using Generate Blocks and Generate Press, and he needed to, I can't remember what it was. It was an inline sign up form, where basic Gravity Forms does the inline. And we used to have that done in the old legacy version. You did that with
CSS ready classes.
CSS ready classes. And now it's done in the block in the Gravity form editor by putting the fields you want side by side in different columns and then putting the submit button to show up on the last row, and it'll just automatically squish itself in between there. But to make it look good, there are some settings you kind of need to do. Like you need to set all of your fields inside their columns to large so that they take up 100% of each of the columns. You also need to make sure that you set the button to be maximum width so that it will fill up its column in that inline. And then what we did is that I showed him how to do it in Generate Press. Was basically he was wanting to have it where it was showing up on all of the footers across all the footers and at the end of every article pretty much. And I said, you could do that two different ways. He had used Generate Press's hooks feature to have the thing show up at the bottom of the content, the main content, so that it was always in a kind of like a background colored box at the bottom of the content. But by doing that, it opens up the ability to use the block editor to create that hook. But he was just dropping the Gravity Forms block in there, and it wasn't styling it. It was like throwing it off to the right-hand side, not centering it with content and everything else. I said, you need to wrap that with a container. And that's the key for most of the block editing stuff, is that you've got to pay attention to the grid containers, the column containers and stuff like that, because that's where your overarching styles will come into whatever you're trying to create. And that was something I learned, that it's actually much easier to do container designs and styles, like actually styling the container, setting its padding, setting its, how much vertical padding it or space it has between the top and the bottom, and or setting the full background of the container. And then also setting the overriding colors of the things you drop in there, so that like if you drop a form in that's normally black on white, it will automatically show up as white on black because the container is white on black and centered and stuff like that. So that was one of the things I was like, okay, I do need to embrace this a little more, because the Gutenberg block editor allows you to create reusable blocks too. So like if you have elements that you want on a regular place, like a sign up form or a newsletter sign up or something like that, and you want to put it in the middle of your, or like an ad, and you want to put it in the middle of your document or your blog article or whatever it is, a reusable block's great for that because you can use it to actually create this little module that always looks the same wherever it is. And then if you decide to change the colors seasonally, you can go through and put your, your Christmas colors behind it, and then boom, it's done throughout your entire site for that time frame. So there's a lot of, it takes getting used to with the block editor, but with all the things they've been doing as far as like the block styles and the block or the style palettes and the pattern, I keep forgetting what they call them. And this is again why we probably need to do a Gutenberg class again, or a block editor thingy discussion. There's a lot of things that have been happening in the last couple of years with it that have actually made it a much better competition.
Experience.
Yeah, well, competition too for like Elementor and Oxygen and all these other ones, because every single one of those is trying to reinvent the wheel. They're all trying to do their own version of site building. And the problem is that if they do as much as they're doing, they step on the block editor completely to the point where you can't just have a customer come in and write a blog article, because they've got to go through all of the Elementor crap to get to that. And that's the one thing that the block editor has done, is it's made it possible for, a standard user to come in and go, okay, well, I want a picture to the left and have my text wrapper on the right, or I want 3 pictures up at the top, or, that kind of thing. They've been able to do some minor good looking stuff. So I think it's just a matter of, we all need to evolve to some extent. And it definitely, we talked about this the last time we did a Gutenberg talk, was it's definitely fast. If you have a full block site, it's very fast natively, as long as you're not going crazy with your images and stuff like that, as long as you've been, properly optimizing your images when you upload them and stuff. So,
and that's why I haven't embraced it before. It's just like so many changes, and when you only have so much development time, and you have to do custom blocks to kind of get where you need to go. Mm-hmm. It's so much easier to just write some raw HTML into a new page template and just call it a day, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, it was like when I first got started doing the WordPress stuff, I was trying to find a really good, robust theme that I could modify really well. And I had bought one once off Theme Forest back when I first started doing this again. And I was really good at modifying that theme to make it do lots of different stuff. And it was well written, but it had issues, especially, I can't remember what the first one was when they, it was one of those first times when WordPress stopped doing something and it broke everybody's site because it was like a widget. I can't remember which widget, but it was like some widget thing, or it was like a PHP, and the way things were registered or something changed, and it broke everybody's site, and you had to go through and fix them all. It was that kind of a thing. And that was when I really started looking at finding well-developed sites. And I think that's somewhere around then is when I found GeneratePress and just fell in love with it because it was robust. And the guy writes a very lean theme that's very flexible, and he jumps on the WordPress bandwagon and what they're doing early. So he had an entire system that was based on hooks and filters and everything else like that was very easy to work with. But he jumped on global styles, block editing, embracing the block editor and stuff like that. And then he went and wrote Generate Blocks, which is 4 blocks added to the standard WordPress blocks for containers, buttons, and headers and something else. I can't what the other one is. Oh, well, but it doesn't matter. But he has I just like the way that all of his stuff works. It's just very nice and clean. So that's the reason I've embraced his themes more. So. How about you, Jen and Elaine? What do you guys focus when you think about theming? Anything you guys jump to immediately anymore, or?
Probably, I mean, I would be Generate Press is where I would start. I mean, it's easy to use and to start with, and then from there, it's just figuring out what exactly is needed and where to, what the next step's going to be. Every project's a little different, so it just depends.
Are you still using Beaver Builder?
I am. I using few. I do want to learn more about blocks and get more accustomed to that. That's my goal for this year. And learning more about that. But yeah, I do use Beaver Builder. It's just easy and I'm used to it, and it doesn't add too much stuff. It's not like you get the bells and whistles without so much clutter behind the scenes, and then you can add on to that if needed, or edit that if needed. So it just again, it just depends.
I know I was surprised how easy it was to rebuild like some of Denise's one-page landing sites that she had. I did them like all of the content completely in the block editor, and only had to use Generate Press really for the colors and the overall background and the header.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. Is like, it's the more I play with it, the more I'm comfortable with it. Like, I know we've got to do an overhaul of the WordPress Tampa Bay website. Kind of, I need to go through and kind of clean out stuff and kind of like shift towards a one brand style. And I don't make, like, right now the way we've got it designed, we're not really promoting blog posts or anything like that, because we don't use blog posts that much. We pretty much are primarily an events website. So, but there are options for, like, I found something today. It was a really good article on, you guys know what faceted search is, right? It's where you kind of like what we just saw on that Learn WordPress site, where you have a lot of filters you can select on the side, and you use those to filter your main content down based on that. Well, there's a grid. It's a WP block grid filter. I can't think what it's called. I got to find the YouTube art. It was on a YouTube article I saw this morning, and but it's a faceted search, but it's not facet WP, so you don't have to pay for it. It's actually on the.
Let me know what that.
Yeah. As soon as I find it, I will definitely talk about that one, because it allows you to do faceted search using the query loop, the query block. And you create your query block how you want it, like your little grid maybe of like pictures and what do you call it, featured image, title, and excerpt, and then you can create your faceted search based on taxonomy and a lot of other stuff. So
in a block-based theme.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't
because the query WP query has been changed in the block editor or something. Is that the deal?
The query loop is part of the block editor, yes. So you do have to be using the block editor. You have to have a page with the block editor with the query loop being built from that.
Okay.
If you're using a theme that does its own, then that probably will not work as well. But most themes now are supporting that query loop block from WordPress. So, yeah.
Well, I built a couple of block editor sites.
Mm-hmm.
For people. One was WordPress.org, using one of their themes. One was WordPress.com, and that's like a real limited sandbox there. They kind of limit you. And I turned them over to the people who had this preconceived idea of what WordPress was, and then turned it over to them, and it's not at all like WordPress as they remembered it, or as it was described to them, or whatever. And I mean, it did not go over. It just didn't go over well.
Really?
It was like a lead balloon. It was like, what? I sent them the tutorials and stuff, because that wasn't really part of my, they were going to have to learn it. I kind of did a demo and showed them, or at least one of them I showed them, but
it wasn't what they remembered. Is that it? They had experience.
It's just so different, it's just so different than what they were either thought it was or remembered, or it was just so foreign. What do you mean all these hidden things. You got to find out where on the page you even are, and all they would
Yeah.
have to do was edit what I already did. But
Yeah. Well, I'm trying
to
to
me, it
remember.
wasn't that hard, but to them, it was like climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like if I had to go into a Word document right now, like Microsoft Word, I'd be lost because I've only used Google Docs for the last, well, since it's been out. I dropped WordPress. I mean, I dropped Microsoft completely like a hot
Thank
potato
God. Yeah.
the minute Google Docs came out. And I feel the same way about Excel. Excel was always a good product, but Google Sheets has done a really good job of imitating it. And I mean, I work in Google Sheets all day long, and I work in, Google Docs constantly. So I'm very comfortable there. But we're from that world before when we focused on setting up styles, that when we would do a document in Word, we would think of like a publisher or like a designer or like a desktop publisher. You would think of in styles because we did that in PageMaker and all of those, and in design and everything else like that. That's how we thought, right, Elaine? I mean,
Yeah.
we were print publishers. That's how our brains thought. So that was how we designed things. So for us, working with the concept of a style sheet makes sense.
Because some of those page layout programs were going in that direction anyway.
Yeah. And
create this
that was
global style or whatever.
Right, exactly. And so I think maybe that's the biggest learning curve maybe for people coming into
No, I think it's the
WordPress.
physical, like where is that block that I need to edit?
Yeah, that's
Finding
where
all that weird finding thing.
well, the block navigator helps with that, but you really do
Yeah.
have to show them how to use it. Once you see how it's done, it's not that hard. Like
I know.
if I go, I don't want to use that one because that's the full screen editor and I'm lost in there. But I would show you that one. But let's plan on definitely doing a talk on Gutenberg, block editor, and stuff like that soon.
But not full site, not yet.
Not full site editor, no. No. Well, you saw that even with the one little lesson plan, they said you need to have experience with block editor and this. So we'll do the first two first, and then we'll do like the intermediate full site editor one because I haven't even touched it. You saw how lost I was, except for global styles. That made sense to me. So, kind of. Yeah, I think maybe that's the learning curve right there, is that there is no help at the editor level. There's nothing when you first just jump in there that's going to walk you through how to do it. And that's one thing that not Wix, but what's the other, Squarespace?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that one.
That's something Squarespace and the other ones do better. They have more contextual help. You can honestly go in and build a website in Squarespace without having to go through any tutorials to some extent because it is kind of built into their wizard. So that is what's missing, I think, in WordPress. But that's just me. All right. Well, you don't have any more questions tonight. No one else dropped anything. So, guys, this is going to be a really short call or a really short meetup. We will see you again. Oh, anyone that, like I said, anyone that is interested in going to that particular Civo Navigate thing, let me know. And we've got 4 tickets. I'll keep checking Facebook. I posted out there, but anyone wants to go? We've got free tickets, 4 of them. So let me know, and you got them. We will see you in February 21st for our next Ask Us Anything, making sure that's the right date. I'm fairly sure I said February 21st. Hang on. Popping in a Meetup real quick to make sure. Boy, Meetup's changed a lot. Every single time I come in here, it looks different. Yeah, February 21st is our next meetup, and I think we're going to be doing the March one. We're going
to meet down at
Armature Works.
Works.
Yeah, we'll do a social in March, so we'll get all the details together and put that out there. Okay. And what did we do last time? We did a Thursday, didn't we? For the last social.
It was on a Thursday, yes.
Yeah. I think later in the week is better, but I don't want to go to the weekend because I know armature work becomes a
Oh,
nightmare
no.
on Fridays
Yeah.
and Saturdays. I
Yeah.
have no idea how it is during the week though.
We'll be
So-
bumping into my
I would
daughter and
do
her
it.
gang or whatever. God.
Her daughter and her gang, you're funny. So I know they have a lot of outdoor seating though, which is nice, and they have a lot of food choices. So there's some options.
Well, there are a lot of places in there to meet, so we might want to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll ask my daughter. Where is a
Yeah,
good spot?
does she go there like during the week?
So ask
too?
her where the cool kids hang out, and we'll go.
Yeah,
We'll go there.
There are a lot of bars in there, so
I know there's a lot of bars in there. Yeah, but I know they also have that whole huge area that like faces where they do the yoga and everything else. That whole outdoor seating area on the
Yeah.
front of the space that faces the water and looks towards
that's a
downtown
nice place.
Tampa.
Yeah,
It's
that
really
would probably
pretty.
be a good
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, because we don't want to yell. That was the one bad thing. We should have sat outside at the Three
Yeah.
Daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were having to talk too loudly. So, all right. So, as we always do, let me find my little banners that have my stuff. Make sure that you visit our website at wptampabay.org and make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel on YouTube. I don't know how many we have so far. I've never really looked, but how many active subscribers we have, but we're getting up there. It's like, we definitely get, some good activity. It's nice, but definitely like and subscribe because that does increase our numbers and increases our social media presence, etc. on YouTube. And we will see you. Obviously, well, let me thank everybody here first. Thank you, Travis, Jennifer, and Elaine for everything tonight. And Travis, thank you so much for talking about WPCLI as much as you did. And thank you, Jennifer and Elaine, for giving as much feedback as you did on branding, etc. So I really appreciate it. And we will see you next month. Have a wonderful January. And where is my end cap stuff? There it is, right there. Thank you for watching a recorded session from WordPress St. Petersburg Meetup. We meet once a month on the first Tuesday of the month, live streaming online through our YouTube channel and Facebook group. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new videos are added. Find out more about WordPress St. Petersburg at our website at wptampabay.org.